Your experiences in diabetes can drive breakthroughs that improve lives. Join Thrivable's research panel and contribute directly to the future of diabetes care. You'll be compensated for sharing your valuable insights with trusted healthcare organizations. There are opportunities for patients, caregivers, and healthcare providers. Adults over 18 with diabetes and caregivers of children with diabetes are eligible to join the patient panel. Healthcare providers are invited to join the research panel. And providers with experience in diabetes care and knowledge about insulin pumps, CGM, and other related devices may be invited to more study opportunities. Learn more at the link in the show notes. Go to diabetes-connections.com and look for this episode. This week on Diabetes Connections, managing type 1 when your job means you burn more than 5,000 calories and lose 10 pounds of water in one day is a little different. I caught up with IndyCar driver Conor Daly, who is in the middle of the season right now. Diagnosed at 14, Conor talked to me about that time, about continuing to chase his dreams of racing, about using inhaled insulin, Afrezza, as part of his T1D management for quite a long time now, how he deals with diabetes during races, and a lot more. This podcast is not intended as medical advice. If you have those kinds of questions, please contact your healthcare provider. Welcome to another week of Diabetes Connections. I'm your host, Stacey Sims. You know we aim to educate and inspire about diabetes with a focus on people who use insulin. I am always so glad to have you here, and thank you for all of the feedback and comments on last week's episode. Once a year, pretty much, I interview my son, Benny. He was diagnosed right before he turned 2. He is now 20. It's hard for me to judge those episodes. As most of you know, they make me very nervous because he's kind of a free spirit and he'll say whatever pops into his mind. But I did get some questions, and yes, those promo codes that we mentioned at the end of the episode for Mom's Night Out, they really do work. So if you are interested in attending our fall Mom's Night Out events, we have one in Minneapolis in September and Phoenix in October. The promo codes Benny, B-E-N-N-Y, and the other promo code, all one word, Stop Stressing Mom Out. They are both valid. We do have 4 events in 2026. Registration is not open for those yet, but you can sign up to get on the email list for city-specific announcements and alerts. Those cities are Nashville, Washington, D.C., Detroit, and Seattle. Head on over to diabetes-connections.com and click on the Mom's Night Out tab to learn more. And I met a lot of people from those cities at the gigantic Friends for Life Diabetes Conference that happened earlier this month in Orlando. And I was able to do a few fun interviews there as well. I talked to Robin Arzon from Peloton, and she now has her own Barbie. I talked to the diabetes legends, including the WNBA's Lauren Cox, and of course, as you're about to hear, Conor Daly. Now, Conor uses Afrezza inhaled insulin, and I do want to give a quick update about that because there's always a lot of questions. We've done a few episodes, and I will link back to those in the show notes, but we were really excited to partner with Mankind, the company that makes Afrezza, at our early Mom's Night Out events to help recruit for the INHALE study. They presented findings from that study at ADA last month. If you're not familiar, you use inhaled insulin with basal insulin. So you take a once-a-day long-acting shot, and then you use Afrezza for meals and corrections. As you can imagine, some people use it in other ways, but that's standard operating procedure. And the INHALE study found Afrezza was safe and effective for kids. I'm going to link up more about this, but I would expect to see this sent to the FDA for pediatric approval very soon if it hasn't been submitted already, so stay tuned. Okay, Conor Daly has been living and racing with type 1 for more than 15 years. He is passionate about not letting diabetes keep you from your big dreams, even if you have to do a lot more work to get there. It will not surprise you that I don't know that much about IndyCar racing, but I do know we're in the thick of the season right now. Conor had a race just this past weekend in Toronto, and this next weekend they'll be in California. I learned an awful lot from this interview as well. I do need to let you know that we start off talking about go-karts, and that's because we're referring to an event that happened in Nashville a couple of years ago. I was in Nashville for a podcasting conference, and I got invited by, just a friend at Breakthrough T1D They were hosting Conor at a go-kart event for kids. It was so much fun, but that's where we met. All right, our conversation right after this.
Did you hear the pod drop?
Did you know all the sounds used to make that song come from a site change with the Omnipod 5 automated insulin delivery system? Pretty cool, huh? With Omnipod 5, pump site changes are simple. The pod lasts up to 3 days, 72 hours, and to change it, you just fill up the pod with insulin, place it on your body, tap a few buttons in the Omnipod 5 app, and you're ready to go. There's no tubing to prime like with traditional insulin pumps, and it's virtually pain-free. So you never have to see or handle the insertion needle. Want to try Omnipod 5 for yourself? Request a free Omnipod 5 starter kit today by visiting omnipod.com/diabetesconnections. Terms and conditions apply. Eligibility may vary. Conor, welcome to Diabetes Connections. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. The last time I saw you, you were in a go-kart.
Yeah.
Not the usual mode of transportation.
Very different. Yeah. But that was a fun event. It's definitely, it's been a while now, but we've actually done a couple more of those go-kart events with Mankind recently. It's been a lot of fun. So good times.
That's great. Let me just start with the basics. How are you managing diabetes these days?
Well, I'm still alive, so that's good. That's a good start.
That's always a good start.
Yeah. It's obviously been a long, road for me so far. I mean, I'm 33 now, and I got diagnosed when I was 14. So it's been quite a long time now. It feels like. It must mean I'm getting old. But I've been through many different therapies and many different situations of this is what you need to use, this is what you can use, etc. But yeah, as technologies come along, I mean the CGM for me has been like, whew, that's been amazing. But yeah, using still a long-acting insulin shot for myself, and then obviously also inhalable insulin with the Afrezza, and that's been my short term, the short acting, the fast acting, insulin. So it's been great for me, and honestly, it's been something that I wouldn't change at the moment. Yeah. It seems like the right fit for me. My A1C's at 5, so I feel like I've done a decent job so far with control, and I'm just gonna keep learning more and more every day.
I think a lot of people may not understand when they think of driving of how athletic it really is. Would you mind sharing some of that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's honestly the most common misconception that we get is like driving is very easy, because a lot of people do it every day. And you go to the gas station and you're like, this is simple. You turn on the AC, feels really nice. Maybe the seat warmer if it's a little cold. In an IndyCar, the NTT IndyCar series, which I race in, we have 17 races. The cars, we do 244 miles an hour. We race anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours, 3.5 hours being the Indy 500, which is a 500-mile race. There's no breaks. There's 7-second pit stops, and we do about 4 or 5 of those in the race. That's not really a break because you're still quite active in the car while the team is changing tires and giving you fuel. But we have no power steering in the car. We have no air conditioning of any kind. We have basically no help. We are fully burning through everything we've got in our bodies. We lose around 10 pounds of water weight during a race if it's really hot. You're burning, a lot of the times in the road course race weekends, we have a warm-up practice session in the morning, which is about a 30-minute practice session, and then a 2.5-hour race later in the day. That's a 5,500 calorie day that you burn we have so much technology now in these like wristbands and heart rate monitors that we can wear, and drivers love to wear them because every single time you give people data on it, it's like, that's crazy. We didn't know that racing was that hard. It's like, well, that's because I can't go out and tell you to do it. Like I can go outside right now and throw a football and know that I am not going to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL. I can do the same thing with a basketball or a baseball bat. That's why I respect those athletes, because I can go out and try. But the one thing that I always tell people is like, I wouldn't judge something that you just don't know about and then when you hear about it, it's like, whoa, maybe we do have a new respect for what this is. So a lot of calorie burn, a lot of sweat, a lot of intensity. You're also trying not to die at 230 miles an hour too. So it's very aggressive, and we train like triathletes that also fight at the same time.
All right, I have so many questions. I want to start with the calories though.
Yeah.
It's one thing to maintain that when you don't have diabetes. How do you do it?
Well, I mean, honestly, you got to fuel your body, which I've actually realized. I went through a couple years where I actually wasn't eating enough, and I was a little bit weaker just because I actually didn't want to do as much work on the diabetes side, because I was like, oh, I've got it where I want it, and like that's fine. But I actually needed more fuel to produce the results that I wanted on track. So I figured out more and more what I needed with my diet. I've switched to a gluten-free diet too, which has helped me a lot. That's been something that has been a benefit. But I also use the team around me. My team knows that every single race day, I'm going to have gluten-free pasta and chicken and vegetables. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So we're going to do that every single day of the race season. And that helps me know exactly what's going in and what I need to then obviously do with my, with my insulin, on the outside as well. So it's something that, again, is hard, but you have this routine. And like, if you talk to any professional athlete, I feel like there's a lot of people who are not only superstitious about their routine, like they have to do the same thing on every game day or whatever it is, before the Olympics, whatever you do, you listen to your music, you do your thing. Well, it's the same for me. Like, we got to do the same thing. It doesn't matter if the race is at 6 p.m. or noon or 3 p.m. Even if you have to have an extra meal, it's still the same thing. Still the same thing for lunch, same thing for dinner, etc. Even if you eat dinner before, which is usually that only happens once a year when we have one night race. But yeah, you got to stay fueled, and that's been super helpful for me to just feed the machine.
Yeah. What about hydration?
Yeah, I have an intense hydration plan as well. I actually went through a dietitian, and I sweat a ton because I'm just like a very Irish heritage kid that's not meant for the sun. I burn easily as soon as I step outside. So that means I sweat a lot, and a lot more than normal. And I actually, last year or 2 years ago, we did a sweat test where like we actually use this sweat band that measures how much sweat and sodium you lose. And the numbers are mind-blowing. I actually forgot that I did this until just now, but I can give you the numbers afterwards. They're on my phone somewhere, but it's like thousands of milligrams of sodium that you burn through. And that's why we lose so much weight, is because all the water, everything is going out of you. And if you see me after the race, my entire suit is covered in salt because I've sweat all the sodium out of me. It's an insane level of sweat. So yeah, we use a lot of the like our team has a deal with liquid IV, so I use some of the sugar-free liquid IVs to kind of stay hydrated there. I also use some element stuff as well, but mainly liquid IV stuff has been super helpful for me. I have a race on Saturday, and I don't know when this goes out, but today is Wednesday. I'm going to start hydrating tomorrow on the Thursday for practice Friday, race Saturday, and we have a race Sunday. So it's going to be super important to stay hydrated like early on.
Wow. I also want to ask about laundry. If you're sweating through that suit, man, who's doing
Thank
that?
God my team handles that. Yeah. I've got 3 suits, so thankfully I can wear a different one every day.
But are you able or allowed to hydrate during the race? Is that something?
Yeah. So that's, a lot of people ask, obviously, with type 1. So I have a drink bottle that's fed basically, and every driver does, has a drink bottle that's basically fed through the car. That basically it's a Camelback that sits in the side pod of the car, but you run a straw up through and through the front of your helmet. And basically the straw sits right in front of my mouth. So you're not reaching for it. I'm not like going to a cup holder. There's no cup holders in our cars. I mean, I keep something like, I don't have a deal with Gatorade, but I should, because I consume a lot of it if I need to. But that's just the easiest thing, right? It's a sports drink that's somewhat hydrating, but also has carbs, sugar in it that helps me if I need it, right? So we do have a chance to do that. But if let's say there's a race that goes green flag, we call it, all the way, where there's no crashes, we're just going. You really don't have time to drink a lot. The times that we actually get to take a drink is if there's been a crash or something happened and there's a yellow flag and we're all going slow for a little bit. But it really just depends race to race.
Have you ever had, during practice or during races, I know you're very well managed. Diabetes is unpredictable.
Oh, yeah.
Any scares or anything where you've thought, oh, I don't want that to happen again?
Honestly, and maybe I'm lucky, but I get that question a lot, and I really have not. I would say that there are some moments that are harder than others, for sure. I would say there are some moments where sometimes your body will throw some just some weirdness at you. I think that's the only way to describe it, where you're like, well, I just ate that, or I just gave insulin for that. Well, why is it not doing as much as I thought it would? But, I always go back to the fact that, like, I've got the tools around me to, like, if I need more insulin, well, I've got it. You know what I mean? Or if I need more Gatorade for something, I've got that too. So it's just every lap in a race can be different, every single lap. And it's the same with, like, every minute in life. I mean, you're just going to be reacting to what's going on. And especially with type 1, you've got to do that all the time. So I definitely I'm learning every day. I always tell people in racing, I'm learning every lap. It doesn't matter that I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm still learning something every lap in the car. And it's the same with life. Like I'm still learning more about like every day at diabetes. Like, oh, all right, today's been a great day. Wonder what I did a little bit differently, or today's been a tough day. Why? So yeah, that's kind of how I go about it.
Yeah. So I know you've told this story before, but you were 14 when you were diagnosed. Were you already racing?
Yeah. So I started when I was 10 in go-karts, and I was, obviously a young lad, but I started to get older, and it was starting to become that situation where you're like, all right, this is getting serious now. Like this could be my job. This is what I wanted to be my job. And we got to a point where it's like, all right, let's go down to a racing school, which is where a lot of kids learn for the first time to go from go-karts to cars. You have experienced folks that are like, all right, this is what's going to feel different about a race car now that you're jumping into it. And my parents just noticed that I had been losing so much weight, and I was, as soon as we'd get on a plane to go somewhere, I couldn't wait for them to serve the water because I was so thirsty and I was dying, it felt like. But also I was an athlete, so I was like, oh, I'm losing weight. This is great. Like lighter the better. But it was definitely not good. And so we went back to the doctor instead. And then obviously I got diagnosed with type 1 then and there. So it was definitely something that was a surprise. We didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. Didn't have no family history with it at all. But I had a race in like 4 days. So I wasn't going to not do that. Like no one looked around and said like, oh, we got to pull out of that one. It's like, no, this is the schedule. Like we got to keep going. And so I don't know if it was maybe silly to do that, but realistically, it just meant that we kept going. And I had, I was given all this information. My endocrinologist at the time, my pediatric endocrinologist that I got assigned, he was actually a great guy. He's passed away now, sadly, but he was a really helpful for me because he was like, all right, let's figure out how to make this work. Like, here's what you need to do. And, there are some great doctors out there, great people that care about, obviously, their patients. And that's cool.
That is cool. How'd your mom do the next couple of years?
Well, she cried for like 3 days straight. Yeah. But she cries seeing like a dog. So,
I can relate. Hey, moms, we got to stick together.
Yeah. She's very emotional. But I think she was also very happy that if any of her children got diagnosed with something like type 1, it was me and not my middle brother, Colin.
How?
Because we have very different personality types, right? And I'm like very self-sustained. I don't want any help doing anything. I want to make sure that I'm not weak, you know what I mean? But my other brother, Colin, I mean, who knows what he's doing at any time. He might even forget to eat meals on a day just because he's playing video games. Who knows? No shade to cut my brother Colin. He's doing great in life, but he's actually just had his first kid. Shout out my brother Colin. I'm an uncle.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So he turned out fine. But still, if he had diabetes, it'd be a little bit tougher than me. So, but my mom was learning just like me, and I mean she's still learning too. So she kind of asks every now and then, "What's going on? How's it happening?" But she's always willing to support if I need it anytime.
That's wonderful, and congratulations on being an uncle.
Yeah, I'm
That's
an uncle.
Very
Crazy.
Cool. Very cool. Generally speaking, people are still learning, I think, about inhaled insulin.
Yeah.
And I know you can only really speak for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But what do you like about it? Right back to our conversation. But first, Diabetes Connections is brought to you by Dexcom. Diabetes doesn't always have to interrupt your day. Dexcom G7, a continuous glucose monitoring system, sends your glucose numbers to your phone or receiver. Know where you are and where you're headed without finger sticks and without interruptions. Dexcom G7 is the most accurate CGM, and it's covered by Medicare. Learn more, go to diabetes-connections.com and click on the Dexcom logo. Finger sticks required if symptoms or expectations do not match readings. See user guide for instructions. Data on file must meet coverage criteria. For full prescribing information on risks and benefits, visit Dexcom.com.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? I think what I've learned is probably everyone has something that might work best for them, right? Like everyone's different, everyone's body's different. And I've noticed that even talking to other type 1s as well. But, for me, I've been using inhalable insulin now for 6 years, for 5 years. And I think a lot of people weren't even familiar that it's around for that long, so which is kind of crazy. And I've been through actually 2 different endocrinologists now who, when I got to the new one, they were like, oh, okay, like that's what you're doing? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, your numbers look great. I'm like, well, thanks. Like, I'm going to just keep doing that. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's been something that purely for my lifestyle. And again, like I can't tell anyone that like, hey, you must do this because everyone lives a different lifestyle. But I'm living like this. I mean, I'm at 100% speed all the time. And I love to stay in range. Like I hate it when my blood sugar goes high. Like it literally feels like the worst thing ever, and I feel like I'm losing the game. You know what I mean? And so but I have the tools, and the best thing that for me has been obviously my own personal situation with Afrezza has been just the speed of how it works. So like that's the speed and precision and efficiency is something that I wouldn't want to go away from currently. You know what I mean? And maybe it'll be different in 10 years. I don't know. But in my lifestyle right now, there's been nothing that's been better. And again, it's just something that I'm glad, we've got this InhaleMyInsulin.com car and the Tired of Pricks, IndyCar, because it's just cool to be able to share that with people that there might be another option out there.
So I know you know Ryan Reed.
Yes.
All right. I saw you guys on Instagram the other day. He's been on the show a couple of times. But I want to ask you, I'm such a big proponent of community, right? We moms need to stick together. And, kids with type 1, it's great that they have camps. There's not a lot of drivers out there. I know NASCAR. Yeah. I know it's different. And
Ryan's retired.
And Ryan's retired. Yeah. I mean, you guys have more in common. I don't know. You're like the only people who can kind of know what the other has been through.
Yeah. No, it's true. And honestly, there's really not many out there. I know of another kid who was trying to kind of make his way through the racing ranks over in Europe. And I'll get a message really ever like randomly, but there's no one at the level that I'm at currently, which is kind of wild. And I mean, I hope we see more, obviously, in the future. But with, a lot of times I feel like there are still kids who don't actually believe that they can do certain things with it. And I that's the one thing that I always keep trying to push is I'm like, hey, I promise you, I have done everything that I've wanted to do in life. And I continue to try to do everything that everything that's still on my list, right? There's nothing that I've been stopped from doing. I mean, I even did The Amazing Race, a reality TV show. And I was like, hey guys, you guys know I have type 1 diabetes? And they're like, yeah, okay. Well, how can we figure that out? I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to take my Dexcom. And if you guys are cool with that,
oh
that's
my
cool.
gosh.
They're like, okay, cool. Yeah. So, we went all over the world on this reality TV show doing crazy stuff in Africa and Asia and Europe, and you can do it. You know what I mean? Like we did pretty well. So it's something that, again, does it take more work? Yeah. I'm not telling you it's easy, but sometimes you have to work hard for things you want to do. And diabetes, there's no days off, sadly. And you know what? I feel that pain as well. I wish I could wake up tomorrow and just have ice cream and pizza, but I can't. You know what I mean? And that would be really cool if I could. But there's more to life than just that. You know what I mean? There's way more to life than just that. And I always just tell people, I'm like, look, it might take some more work to do this, but there are things that you can do in life, and they're right there if you want to get after it.
All right. So I am embarrassed because I love The Amazing Race, but I stopped watching it for a while.
That's okay.
So what season did you do?
I was season 30. It was 2018, the beginning of 2018.
Okay. My husband and I
Season
have
30.
an ongoing...
You got to watch it.
Well, I will. I'll go back and look at it. We have an ongoing argument about this show because I love it. I think it's amazing. And he says it's not a race.
Oh, it is.
Well, they let people catch up at the airport.
Oh, no.
But with the planes or whatever.
Yeah.
So what was the craziest part of that season? Diabetes aside, or maybe I don't know.
There's some, we were in the middle of Zimbabwe on a rhino preserve. And I guarantee there weren't many type 1 diabetics in that rhino preserve at the time. But just some of the stuff that, again, places I will never go again.
Amazing.
Places that I will never see again, probably. But yeah, it is hard, and it's legit. It's not. A lot of people think reality TV might be kind of made up at times. It really was pretty legit. I got. All right,
I gotta go tell my husband. I got it from the source.
We even, out of fairness, we were even involved in a car accident in Africa where our car, the right front suspension failed in it, and we veered off the road. They stopped the whole show so it wouldn't be unfair, so that we could get a new car and then get back on the race. So I was like, hey, I respect that.
Were you driving?
No, there was someone else driving. We were actually the passengers.
All right.
It was like a taxi, like a van taxi. And but wild, you're like, okay, cool. So we didn't just lose the race. Thankfully, they understood that this guy was a psycho driving, and we ended up in a ditch. But they saved us, so it was good.
Before I let you go, I'm just curious. You seem to love what you're doing so much. And I'm going to say after all this time, it's not that much time. Don't say you're old.
Well, I'm getting there.
What do you like about it still?
Honestly, racing at the highest level is truly one of the most crazy adrenaline rushes of all time. And I think that drive to be successful, the drive to be one of the best out there is incredible. And it's very difficult. The team is so important. I haven't really got a chance, even though I've been over 100 races in IndyCar. I mean, I've never had a chance with the top teams, and I've never had that chance to really stay. I've never been with a team for more than a year and a half straight, and that's not been because it's just been because of, not enough sponsors, not enough situations like this, a lot of bad luck in my career. But we, in the last 12 races, I've led every single Indy 500 the last 6 years, and we've almost had a chance to win each of the last oval races. And so it feels like even though I'm 33, I'm actually at the best that I've been in my career. And so now I'm at a point where with this team that I'm at now, which is a very young team, that drive to be successful is like a drug. And it's something that I love, and I just want to be the best that I can be and beat the best.
That's fantastic. Conor, thank you so much for joining me. This was wonderful.
No problem.
Isn't he great? And I cannot believe that I did not see his season of The Amazing Race. I love that show. I started watching that show when I was pregnant with my daughter, right? That's how long it's been around. Leah's 23 years old. But I did stop watching in the later seasons. But man, I'm going to go back. I haven't watched it yet. Sorry, Conor, but I am absolutely seeking out that season of The Amazing Race. So excited to have another season to watch and get excited about. More information, though, about Afrezza in the show notes. Like I said in the beginning, I'm going to link up our previous episodes. We have been following this since the early days of the podcast. If you'd like a more in-depth explanation, definitely go back and listen to those episodes. And of course, in the news episodes, we will keep you updated. Very high interest here, especially with Afrezza and kids. See what happens here. As always, thanks to my editor, John Buchanan from Audio Editing Solutions. And thank you so much for listening. I'm Stacey Sims. I'll see you back here soon. Until then, be kind to yourself.
Diabetes Connections is a production of Stacey Sims Media. All rights reserved, all wrongs avenged.